attention to you, someone really adores you, someone admires you. But trust me, it doesn't last long. Even if it lasts long, after a while, he finds someone hotter or someone more adventurous maybe than you. He will go for that other girl. So penting to know that, please don't use your sexuality, sexual favor to get love, because it doesn't work that way. Men and women, they speak in a different language. Yeah. And please speak up, because you're also helping many unspoken victims. Because if you see the data in Indonesia, especially, they think it's a taboo. They think that they cannot get a man if they have been harassed before. The men will look down on them, or if they're not a virgin anymore, nobody will accept them. Or if they've been raped, no good guy will accept them. But remember, those are lies. They are not the truth. You need to fight those negative thoughts, because this is not your fault. You are a victim in this, and you shouldn't be ashamed to speak up, so that many other women won't be won't be afraid to speak up more, especially in Indonesia. I don't know about other country, but I know Indonesia is more conservative, and some see it as like a sial or curse, and it's really bad, like you won't get a good husband. But those are lies, and those are like traditional, like old style. Now it's already modern. People are more open-minded. People are getting more aware that this is not the victim's fault, and we really should speak up, and we should help the victim. There is many organization that wants to help you, so you're not alone if you are actually one of them, but you never speak up, and you never dare to really like tell people to not do that. And whenever a guy even asks to sexual chat with you, if you're not comfortable and he's forcing you, it's already one form of sexual harassment. You're not if he wants you to say stuff to him that you are uncomfortable with, or it makes you feel sinful or dirty, or you're not ready for it, it's one form of harassment. And remember, if he truly loves you and he's really a good husband material, and one day a good father for your kids, he won't force you to do those things. Because now I think men is getting harder for them to know the difference between a real woman, like he's supposed to respect them, or an object. Sometimes many, because they watch porn too much, maybe that they objectify a woman. So please don't feel powerless, because you're not alone, and you are stronger than you think, and it's not your fault, and it doesn't make your worth any less just because this happened to you. Because a lot of people need your help, and let your test turn into a testimony that many people will be strengthened through your story. So you can get healed, and this is just one part of your story. Don't feel sorry for yourself, and then forgive the person that did it to you, but you need to be able to confess it and acknowledge that it really happens to you. And yeah, look at the slide. It's taboo not to speak up. And if you see the slide before, can we go back? There is a difference between love and lust, because I think nowadays also, when I talk to girls, they think love and lust is the same thing. So when men ask you to be, the movie Grey's Anatomy, I think it really shapes our culture, our millennial generation, that when a man asks for favor, like the Grey and Anastasia thing, it's like of love, it's dominant love. No, it's not. It's torture. It's one form of sexual harassment. And just because maybe you come from a broken family, or there is something missing in your childhood, it doesn't mean that that kind of way is love. Love is supposed to be healthy. It's not supposed to be painful. It's not supposed to be uncomfortable like that. So you need to know the difference between love and lust. Don't let any man think that using lust and pretending it's love. Don't. Okay, because you are so precious, you are so wonderfully made. Your creator loves you. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. And you everybody has weakness, so you cannot judge yourself on your weakness or your mistakes. Everyone makes mistake, but it doesn't mean that you are not worth loving.
biar
So
biar alam aja ya.
you know so we can go to the other slide. And never think you're not worth loving, because you are. And fantasizing and admiration is two different things. If he really admire and loves you, he will use a ring, not just asking for you to give up your virginity or to do adventurous things with him. Like the high school story in Jogja, I think there was a guy that will ask the girlfriend to sleep also with the friends, and she also has to sleep with 3-4 different men. So it's like a party thing. And if she doesn't do it, the guy says that, oh, you don't love me enough. But that's not the way you prove love, through sexual favors. Yeah. So you need to know the difference. I think it's important, because in Indonesia is sometimes we get bucin, right? We think like, oh, if it's love, we follow all kind of requests, but you have to know some requests, if it makes you uncomfortable, you need to say no, because you are so precious. You need to know you are so precious. And then we can go to the other slide. And you're not alone, and it's not your fault. And sometimes the guy will make the girl like this is um, sexual violence. I think it's also about power. Maybe the guy doesn't have power at home, or he's actually bullied in his childhood, so he actually feels good when he has power over you, and he will manipulate you. He will use all kind of strategy to makes you feel down and unworthy, and that's when sexual harassment is more prone. Because you feel so powerless, but you are not. Remember, you are stronger than you think, and you'll be surprised once you get help and you get to speak up and you go into the right community that you can talk about it and you can confess it. You actually is a lot stronger than you think, and you are actually going to be a big solution to a big problem that many girls are facing. So you're not alone, and you're actually helping others who are quiet about this and suffering internally to speak up when you speak up. So know that you matter and your voice matter, and your voice can make the world, the whole country, a much better place. So whatever you've been through, speak up and don't be afraid. And I'm praying for you, and know that we should find like more community. We should make, I think, in every city. Maka I'm glad there is Imbang Diri, that there should be a support group, like Alcohol Anonymous aja around the world. Many people get healed, right, from the addiction, the torture, the trauma. That we should have more support group for girls to talk openly about this so they can get help, because I think a healthy community can make a whole difference. And to let them know you're not alone. Yeah, that's it. I think I'm done. And then, yeah, you can see this. Remain should always keep a close eye on the events happening around you. And please, if you're in Indonesia, if you're at night, don't go places alone. I think it's so dangerous. And if you're really looking for love, don't use Tinder app, because sometimes they're just there is stories that they go rape on the first date and stuff from Tinder. So you never know, especially on the internet. It's really scary. And if it's your office working, remember that uh, remember that you don't have to cope with it, because there is also working place that are safe, and you should talk about it. And I think that there is also sadly in Indonesia, many people are in jail for speaking up. Actually, the victim actually goes to jail instead of the person that did it. But then that's why we need to speak up more about this topic, so not innocent people who are actually speaking up about what happened to them, they go to jail. Because I think it's really unfair. But I think if we all speak up about it and we keep going, we will help many people not to be in jail for speaking up what happened to them.
Okay, is that it,
Mm-mm.
Kadita?
Yeah, and you can ask.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
great. Thank you, Kadita, for your
Mm-mm.
inspiring presentation.
Mhm.
And I think we can all agree to Kadita's quote of the night, which is, "You are precious, worthy, and God's beloved princess." And remember, guys, if our partners love us, they shouldn't want to do sexual demands towards us. Is that right, Kadita?
Yes. And don't see it as a compliment, because he might do it to any other girls. If he really respects you, he won't talk so sexually all the time. You have to know the difference between him being just horny and really loving and really wanting you as a whole, not just to satisfy his sexual desire.
Right, agreed.
Mhm.
Thank you for the
Mhm.
insight once again. Okay, so participants, we are now open to our Q&A session. So we're open to two questions. So please click the raise hand feature if you have any questions that you would like to address. Okay, so I am gonna choose Setiani Melati.
Hello,
Hello. Mhm.
hello. I'm Tia from Bandung.
Hi, Bandung. Wow. Hello.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask you one thing
Mhm.
about the sexual harassment.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a wife with the kids.
Mhm.
Uh, there's there's apa namanya, uh, there's a thing inside my mind
Mhm,
when I want to refuse uh, the thing about loss with my something like my husband.
mhm,
How
mhm,
can I refuse it gently
mhm,
without making him hurt or
mhm,
something? Because in Indonesia or in my religion,
mhm,
the wife should serve her
mhm,
husband and something like that. So
mhm.
how about that?
Yeah, I think maybe you should write to him through a letter, when he's
Mm-hmm.
actually sober, when he's not in the mood and being forceful. Because I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of men, when they are in need for sex, they'll be very forceful. Especially now you're a
Mm-hmm.
wife, he thinks that it's an
Yes.
obedient thing. And it's true
Uh-huh.
that, in every religion, I think it teaches you, memang the woman has to obey the man, even in
Yep.
sexual favor, especially we're married to him and he's like our like kepala kan di rumah tangga,
Yeah.
he's like the
Yeah.
head
Uh-huh.
of the rumah tangga. So when he's sober, you should write a letter to him, saying that maybe in some days you're so tired as a mother, it's not easy. It's hard, and does he have anyone he really looks up to? Maybe his mother, or maybe your spiritual leader, or your mentor, or his best friend. Even I don't know if it's wise, but maybe you can ask someone else if it doesn't work, yeah, on your own effort. But maybe you should write him a chat or a letter, tell him that maybe you're tired, or make it a schedule so he won't be forceful, that maybe how many times do you need in a week. If you need,
Mm-hmm.
make him meet in the middle, because no matter what, you also need to enjoy it, even though it's your
Yes.
responsibility as a wife. But if you're in pain and you don't like it, and maybe he's really rough or whatever, it's also not good on you, and you also have a right as a
Yes.
human being. So
Yes.
maybe yeah, nego with him like how many times he needs a week, as long as you give him like at least a week, at least once, I think it's already good as a wife. And maybe you go to
Mm-hmm.
counseling together. Maybe he's too rough or his style doesn't match you, and your woman needs like love first, right? Like, you need to like maybe foreplay or something. He cannot just be so rough
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. And man, he
Yes.
doesn't understand that, because man's brain is just a totally different world. It's just very lusty and super sex, and mostly rougher than what girls would prefer. Girls, maybe
Uh,
they like the cuddle, especially they're tired, especially you said you have kids, right? So it's
yes.
important that you write a letter to him first, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
wait until he's in a good mood. Maybe you cook for him, or wait until it's a weekend and tell him that it's so painful that you don't like it. Maybe we can meet in the middle and tell him what you like. So maybe if he actually speak your love language, you might want to do it more often with him. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to explain to him that girls doesn't work that way, and I'm really tired. But tell him that you respect him, tell him that you desire him. It's just not his method is wrong. It makes you feel
Mm-hmm.
like painful and even more tired, and you don't it makes you feel even more turned off. Just make sure that it's not him that's making you turn off, or maybe you don't desire him, because then man is so ego that he will look for another woman. If you say that, it will really hurt his ego, and he will want to
Mm-hmm.
prove to himself that he's still so desirable and sexually attractive. He might go find another woman, and you don't want that, right? So of course you need to pray. You need to pray and ask God for wisdom, and write him a letter, when he's calmed down, and try to cook for him when he's in a good mood, or like watch his favorite movie, or you give him a massage or whatever he likes, or buy him a present, a small present. Tell him you love him, and he's like a good husband, or like a good father to your kids, and thank him for working hard, to take care of you and your family and your kids. Or tell him what you like about him. Maybe you think he's handsome, or maybe he's a good singer, or whatever, or a good athlete, or you like how he helps you in the kitchen, or how you first met, or any good memories. Just make him in a good mood first, and then you slowly tell him that maybe this is not the way I want to do it. But of course I want to do it with you. Cuman caranya aja, just the way you
Yeah.
do it. But I love this idea with you of sleeping with my husband. There is no other man. Make sure you give him a boost of confidence, because sometimes men, you never know. Sometimes they might be so insecure inside, but they don't tell you. That's why
Yeah.
he wants to be very powerful in bed, and he's very forceful and rough, and maybe dominant and violent, is because he needs that power and thirsty of his ego, fulfilling the needs of power, because man likes to be in control, man likes to be dominant, and maybe he doesn't get it in his family life before, in his childhood, or in his office. People don't respect him. That's why he really have a thirsty desire to be so dominant in the bed sex life with you. And that's why I'm so sorry, you might have to be like his tempat pelampiasan, the
Yes.
victim. So that's why you need to like give him like a words boost, so he knows that you still desire him, just not the way, and seek counseling, so you can both of it like talk about it openly. But first, before you do like counseling or tell someone else, do your best to talk to him one on one, so he feels really respected. He doesn't feel like you're gossiping about him or complaining, or he's not desirable. And just when you talk to him about this, make sure he knows that you really find him handsome and cute. Tell him, because sometimes men might misunderstood you. He might think, oh, you don't find him attractive anymore, or you're fantasizing about someone else. But do tell him the way you like it. Just be open and tell him, and write him a letter, chat, and yeah.
Okay, thank you so much,
Mhm.
Kadita.
Yeah, no problem. I'm praying for you. God bless you and your
Thank you
family.
so
And you
much.
can direct message me and update me what happened after the talk. Give him his favorite food first. And I think the timing is important. You must pray. Yeah, I
Yep.
think with the right timing, it will go to him lah. Yung masuk, I think.
Yeah, thank you so much.
God bless you. Take care. I hope everything will get better.
Amin, amin. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Kadita.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tia, for your question, and thank you, Kadita, for your answer. Right, so we'll be entertaining one more participant before our break. So make sure to raise your hands if you have any questions. I will choose Reski Binunsa. Reski, are you with us?
Hello? 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 Hello?
We can hear you.
You can hear, I think.
Reski, would you mind to turn on your camera, if you may?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. I'm sorry I didn't open my cam
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not at home.
Yeah, it's okay.
I want to before Kak Dita talk about dressing in Indonesia,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to ask almost everyone in Indonesia thinks that sexual harassment occurs because of the clothes worn by women. Moreover, the majority of Indonesia are Muslim, and I'm a Muslim too. Such
Mm-hmm.
a thing often happens if a woman is wearing open clothing and is sexually abused. They will
Mm-hmm.
think that it is a woman's fault,
Mm-hmm.
and finally want to speak up about what is happening is very difficult, even in her own family. How to
Mm-hmm.
deal something like that because of that talk make you afraid to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
We are afraid because of that mindset.
Yeah. uh, First, I know that it's scary, I bet, especially if your family won't, you think that your family won't accept it. But I think you need to be the one that change the culture. I think that nothing happens by accident. I feel like maybe if it happens to you, God also wants to heal you. Evil things happen to us all the time, and unfair things. But you really need to speak up. Don't be afraid. You need to fight your fear, because you know that if you can fight your fear, you actually grow from it. You become a stronger, better person, and you're going to help so many women who are afraid also. So to whoever who are afraid and you think that it's because maybe your clothing lah, and men also has ways, or maybe the girl also wants to, or the girl didn't say anything, and the man think it's not his fault because the girl didn't even fight against it. The girl also seems to be like enjoying it. There is many excuses to make you feel like you're not the victim. But I'm here telling you that you guys are the victim. If it happens to you, whatever happens, whatever the reasons, the men come up with all these excuses, and whatever the culture or your family or religion tells you that it's something embarrassing, it's a taboo, it should be something that you hide. It's not. You should speak up, because then, because you speak up, many more women will speak up. And when you confess and when you're able to speak about it, even though it's such a painful, embarrassing, and scary, powerless experience, you're actually overcoming a one big trial that will make you a much stronger and wiser person. And many other girls that needs you and needs to hear your story, because I think you will turn your test into testimony. And I think our message also will turn into a message if we're able to confess about it and not be embarrassed by it, because I think you are the solution to a big problem. And the fact that you use your voice to speak up, you're going to help so many women in bondage and that are so afraid to speak up about this topic, that is so afraid to not be accepted, because the world is changing right now, especially with digital, with the internet, with social media, and this topic is no longer a taboo. It's actually, even the United Nations around the world talking about it, even in the church, even in the religious group, and even schools are now openly talking about it. Some schools that I visited, my charity Dignity Social, actually the counselors actually tell the students, if you're afraid to tell your parents or your siblings or your classmate if it happens to you, or your teacher did it to you, don't be afraid to tell the school counselor. And they actually invited me to speak, and like my relawan psychologist pas itu also came. So actually people are opening up to this topic. So don't be so narrow minded that people won't accept you, because it's actually a global issues that are really big. Even now people are urging the DPR, the parliament. Many activists are actually urging to make the law even stricter for the harassed people who harass and sexually harass women, especially. So don't be afraid. Remember that the culture is changing. So there is many of you actually, and the fact that you speak up, you're actually a blessing to many people. Especially when you're quiet, you're actually not healing. When you keep it to yourself, you're worsening the scar. And trust me, whatever you keep hidden will actually come out later on. And sometimes it will come out later on in your future, and it might destroy your future family. Or it might makes you it might make your relationships actually with your future husband, who knows, or your son later on might, it might bother that relationship. It won't go function normally, because you have a hidden trauma and hidden scar that needs to be healed. So remember, it's also for your own good, your own future, that you speak up about this and find help. And there is many people that wants to help you. So you need to learn a new mindset, and don't believe the lies and the culture lies that this is a taboo and you cannot get help, and people will judge you, people will look down on you, people won't want you anymore, or you're less now that that people knows that you've been abused or sexually harassed, because you're not. Okay, those mindset you need to let go. And that's why I really like this event, Imbang Diri Make It, because I think many more girls need to hear this, and we need to change the way the culture think and think and look at the sexual harassment issue, because it's not a taboo anymore. It's not aib, it's not rare, and it doesn't degrade you as a woman at all. Actually, I think you whoever gone through this, you are special, I think, and you are called to be the culture changer, and you're called to help so many other women that are experiencing the same thing, and they are crying on the inside, and they're trying to function normally when it's hard. When you have trauma, it's really hard to function normally, no matter how smart or talented or capable you are or wealthy you are. No matter how good you are, or ambitious, or like you are very good with your career or discipline or committed, but with a unhidden trauma, trust me, someday it will really hit you hard. So I think it's good also for your own healing, and so you can really maximize your potential. And I think there is nothing more beautiful also in life. I think our life ambition shouldn't be just being rich, or being pretty, or being popular, or just being the smartest, having many degrees. But I think the purpose of our life is to be useful, to be a blessing for others, to help others in their struggle. And that's why if you experience it, don't be afraid, because you are gonna gonna have an amazing calling in life, and you're actually fulfilling your calling by speaking up and getting help and healing yourself, because after you get healed, you can heal and encourage many others. Yeah. And I think that's the best calling ever in life, is to help others. It's not a wasted life. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
try to talk, but they always blame me for my clothes, and that scare me.
Mhm. Yeah, you need to find the right community. I think you talk to the orang yang rada kuno, you know. That's why you need to find the right community. You can talk to the Imbang Diri and get planted. And I know many others organization also have the community for it, or the psychology to counsel you one on one and guide you. And I think Imbang Diri is also good, their initiative. So remember, I think you just talk to the wrong person. You need to talk to the right person. So don't let one two experience or people blaming you to be the end of your speaking up against it. You need to stand up again, because I know you can do it. You are brave, and it's not your fault. Don't listen to them. Because it's not your fault at all. Okay. Stay strong, and I pray that God will speak to you, God will help you rise up, and God will help you find the right community, the right people to talk to, because there is healing. And when you speak up, you can pass in the right community, you can get healed, and many other women will relate to your story. Because I know it's not easy, but you need to know that you need, once you find the right community, it will be much easier. Gitu. Jadinya your PR now is to pray a lot and find the right community that will accept it. And there is many people that's been through it also. So you need to find those people that understands. And with them you are more powerful than you can imagine, because you can change the culture about this topic. And people sometimes they blame you because maybe they don't want to accept the fact that it happens to you. Sometimes maybe if it's your family, maybe they are actually hurting that it happens to you, that they just blame you because they don't know how to react. And they don't know how to react properly, or they feel it's their mistake also. So there is many hidden reasons in their unconscious self that makes them reject your story and just blame you. But you cannot let those people that cannot deal with your story and your confession to stop you from sharing and standing up and finding the right community. Because I think you're going to be such a light and a blessing to your surrounding once you get through this, because many people needs to hear you, and many people will be healed through your story. Yeah. So stay positive, and I will pray you find the right community, and please follow up with the Imbang Diri panitia and founders. And thank you for being brave, asking the question, because I know it's not easy. I really know it's not easy, especially when your surrounding just blames you, and super conservative and narrow-minded. But trust me, you just need to go outside your comfort zone. Take that one step to try again and open up to the right people, because I think that will be life-changing.
Thank you so much, Kak Dikta.
Yeah, stay strong, and please don't stay quiet. After this, you need to follow up and find the right community, and let me know how you're doing after.
Okay.
Take care.
Right. So thank you
Thank
again
you.
for your question and answer,
Mhm.
Kadita. Right.
Yeah.
So that wraps up our first session with Kadita tonight.
Mhm.
Kadita, thank you so much for your presentation and insight.
Thank
And for
you.
all participants, thank you all for your attention. Don't go anywhere since the second session by Nuria Gonzalez will start sooner. Okay. And for time being, please be reminded that e-certificates are available for you. And don't forget to contact Imbang Diri's committee to make your payments and get your certificates. And also, don't miss Imbang Diri's upcoming events, which is Share With Us Batch 5 and discussing Apaka Aku Bipolar. And don't miss the article writing competition for you writing enthusiasts and hosted by Imbang Diri. For more information, do check Imbang Diri's Instagram or check out Imbang Diri's website at imbangdiri.com. Okay, so our break is up. I hope you guys are all hydrated. So next in line, we have Nuria Gonzalez. a fifth-year medical student, and a national public health officer, and an LOCO president at IFMSA from Spain. Okay, so the comedy is sharing the screen. Okay, here we have the slide. Okay, so let us call Nuria. Hola Nuria,
Hello.
¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás,
Hello, thank
Nuria?
you. Muy bien. I'm really fine, thank you. I'm really, really happy to be here and to have the opportunity to talk to you all.
Right, it's so glad to have you here with us, Nuria. Okay, so Nuria here will be sharing her country's perspective regarding sexual harassments from Spain. And without further ado, Nuria, you may have the floor.
Okay. Yeah. So I come from Spain, and I come from a country where we have quite relative sexual freedom, I would say, and women have a lot of rights here. We can go to the police if we are sexually harassed, and they will listen to us. So one may think that we don't suffer from sexual harassment here because of that, but actually we do. It may be different than in other countries, but we still do. So it's very important to talk about it. And we use, for example, dating apps and Tinder and whatever every day, and it's common. But still, we sometimes suffer from sexual harassment even in the streets. So can you please put the next slide? So yeah, how does society stigmatize sexual harassment victims here? Very common ways of sexual harassment are, for example, typical comments or whistles when we're walking in the street because of the way we're dressing, because our clothes, if we're wearing a miniskirt or if we're wearing like a crop top or something like that, we will be listening men telling us like disrespectful things in the street, and even like whistling, shouting, or approaching us. Sometimes they stop us to talk to us, and it's very annoying and it's uncomfortable. And also it is very common when we're dancing in the discos and we're with our friends in a pub or in a party. Sometimes men approach us and even touch us, touch our butt, touch our boobs, and without permission, without consent. And then if we have also we suffer sometimes typical sexual harassment situations, such as at work or at schools, at class, university, from teachers, from classmates. So some like most part of the times, girls don't speak up, not because they're afraid, but because they think it's not important, or they think it's not that much, or people are gonna think that they're exaggerating. But a very important thing that we have to take into consideration is that we are never exaggerating when we talk about this. Like every time that we feel uncomfortable or we feel harassed, we have a right to feel that way, and no one can tell us that it was that we are exaggerating, because these things should never happen in any way. So we are never exaggerating, and it's never our fault. So typical comments that we can hear is that it was her fault because of the way she was dressing, and obviously this is not true, because the way we dress, the clothes we wear, give no one's right to approach us and tell us uncomfortable comments or whistles. We are free to dress however we want. We can wear a miniskirt if we want. We can wear a crop top if we want, and it's our right. And no one is allowed to do anything to us or to say anything to us because of that. So they also usually said that the girl was lying about the assault. Most men say that when a girl blames them, they say that it didn't happen, that she is lying, that she made up the story. And this has happened a lot. We see that in the news, that a girl goes to the police and says that she has been sexually harassed or she has been even raped, and the men say that it's not true, that she gave consent, that she said yes, even if there are proof that she didn't. So victims are usually very stigmatized because of this, because they appear like liars and that they were making up the story. Um, Very typical comments also is that she should not have been walking alone in the street, that she should have not been at night in the street, and it's the same as with the clothes. We should be free to walk in the night in the streets alone or with friends or with whoever without being sexually harassed or sexually assaulted. So it's not our fault because we were in the street. It's the men's fault because they did it. And also here in Spain, we have a drinking culture. People drink alcohol here. So it is also very common that a drunk girl is harassed or is raped or is abused, and then the men say that it's her fault because she was drunk and she didn't say no. But many times she didn't say no because she couldn't, because she was so passed out. So it's not her fault for being drunk. Again, it's them fault for doing it. It's the man's fault for doing it, not the girl for having drunk. So only yes means yes, and if a girl cannot say yes because she's not in good condition or she's not in good shape, she's not conscious, it's also non-consensual, so it shouldn't happen. And another common thing that happens is that they say that she was just looking for sex and that she was like flirting and she was looking for it, but that when a girl flirts with a guy, doesn't mean that the guy has the right to do to her anything he wants. So I can be flirting with a guy, but that guy cannot touch me without my permission, even if I'm flirting with him. It doesn't give him the right to do so. And even if one girl wants to have sex with a guy one day, that doesn't mean that she's gonna want to do it every day. So if the girl gives consent once, that doesn't mean that she has been given consent for the following time. So she can say no the next time, and it's perfectly fine. So as you can see, the society tends to think that it's the girl's fault, either with sexual harassment, like comments, with inappropriate behavior from men in the street, with sexual abuse, with rape. Society tends to think that it's the victim's fault, and it's never the victim's fault. It's never the woman's fault, no matter what happened. So I am going to talk to you about a real life example that happened in Spain a couple of years ago. This is an extreme situation. It's not only sexual harassment, it was sexual abuse, it was a rape case, but it represents perfectly how society stigmatizes the victim. So these 5 men went to a very famous festivity here in Spain, which is called San Fermin, where people tend to go party, get drunk, and everything. And they raped an 18 years old girl while she was drunk. And not only did they do that, but they also recorded it in video and then shared the video. So almost everyone in Spain knows who this girl was because there were videos, and she was attacked all the time. And media said that it was her fault, that in the video she was not saying no, and that she was drunk, so it was her fault. So she was very, very stigmatized. She suffered a lot. And also, society blames the victim because if she is not depressed after the episode. So this girl continued with her life. She was not depressed. She was meeting with her friends as normal. So society said that if she had really been raped, she will be depressed and she will be crying all the time. So as she was not doing it, she was lying. So you can see that, so society tends to think that the victim's lying, that the victim's guilty, and it's not true. Can you put the next slide? Okay, so how can we encourage the victims to speak up? So the most important thing is that never doubt of the veracity of what she's saying. Never think that she's lying. Never tell her that she's exaggerating, because we may think that it's not as as important as it seems, but it can be very, very important to her. So never underestimate her feelings and never doubt about the veracity of what she says. Never judge her. Never tell her it's her fault. Never tell her you shouldn't have been wearing those clothes. You shouldn't have been walking alone. Like, it's never her fault. And listen to her really, really carefully and pay attention, but never push her to speak up. Never force her to speak up. We have to wait until she is ready to talk, because she may not be ready right now, but she will in a couple of days, in a couple of weeks, whenever she feels ready. So we should never push a victim to speak. We can help her. We can give them our help. We can tell them that we're gonna be there for them, that we are gonna go with them to the police, that we're gonna go with them to the hospital. But we should never push them. And we also have to create a safe space. We have to create an environment where they feel safe to talk, where they feel that they can trust us to tell us what happened, and where they don't feel judged. And we have to be patient. We these things require a lot of patience. There have been cases of girls that have been sexually harassed or sexually abused and maybe weren't ready, and they were ready a year later, and they speak up a year later, and it's perfectly fine. There's no limited time for this, so we should wait until they're ready. Can you? Yeah, thank you. So here in Spain, we have some laws and some prevention campaigns to avoid these situations, and they work partially because they still like sexual harassment still happens, but it is protected by the law. So we have an equality law and a sexual freedom law that protect girls from sexual harassment, and it's like it's even established in the law that if a girl suffers from sexual harassment, that man will go to jail, even if it's like comments in the street, even if it's like touching her in a disco, he can go to jail. Then we have like aggressive sexual harassment with violence. They can go from 1 to 5 years in jail. If it's without aggression, it may be months, but if it's violent, he will go to jail from 1 to 5 years. And if it's extremely violent sexual aggression with rape, it can be from 6 to 10 years in jail. So yeah, it is established in the law, but still not all of them go to jail because sometimes the judge doesn't feel that they're guilty. Then governments also organize awareness campaigns. They organize seminars in school about gender equality, about how to fight sexual harassment, like even online sexual harassment, how to prevent it. And then we have social media campaigns. They have advertisements on TV and on the radio. You can even see posters in the street, in the bus stations, where they share we have a hotline, for telephone hotline to call if we have been sexually harassed and if we have been assaulted. It is especially only for that. So there are posters in the street with a phone number, so victims can phone there. And sometimes there are also self-defense workshops where some associations teach women how to defend themselves if they're suffering from a rape, abuse, or whatever. And then to help the victims, we have a lot of NGOs, victims associations, feminist associations, with girls that have suffered from the same problem, and victims can go there, share the experience. They even have lawyers working in that NGO, so they give advice to the victims on how they can act now, how they can take action, how they can go to the police. So it is a matter that it's really being taken care of. We have a lot of measures here, but it still happens, and it's very important. It happens a lot, so we need to keep fighting against it. And a really important thing to remember is that it's never the victim's fault. Never. Like, no matter what happened, it is never her fault. And yeah, I think that's all.
Okay. So, wow. Thank you, Nuria, for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I'm sure we learned a lot from you. And again, we're open to 2 questions. And oh, heads up, we are only allowing 5 minutes for each question and answer. So again, for those who would like to raise your questions, please raise your hands. Okay, we have Gabby. Hello, Gabby. Our listener.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for taking my question. I would like to know regarding the law and everything Spain do to help with the sexual harassment. Has it worked? Because before I studied about victim blaming, and even though we have something that would help to put the perpetrator into jail or something, but not a lot of people really want to report it or want to do something about it. Is it the same condition there in Spain? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Well, it has helped, but not as much as I would like, because as I said, it still happen, and there are a lot of girls that don't go to the police and don't speak up because they think that no one's gonna believe them, or they think that it's not as important. So maybe if they have been harassed in the street, or a man came and touched her without permission or whatever, sometimes they think that society is gonna think it's not important, so they won't be heard, and they don't speak up. Usually, if they speak up, it works, but the problem is that not all of them say it, even if it's something serious, even if it's rape, even if it's like gender violence at home. A lot of them don't say it. Sometimes because they depend economically on their husbands, sometimes because they don't have like a good supportive environment, or because even sometimes because they have been threatened. The man says that if they speak up, they will hurt their family or their children or whatever. So they don't speak up. But when they do, it works. Not always. Sometimes judges don't consider that it has been harassment or abuse, and men don't go to jail. But there are times that it works. The problem is that we should encourage victims to speak up more.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for your question, Gabby, and thank you for answering, Nuria. Right, so we will be entertaining one more question, which is from, let's see, Gisela Shaney. Gisela, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. So about the victim blaming and stuff, uh, it depends on the person for me, because also, well, the stigma, the perspectives of other people are different. And for my case, I didn't report it because my coping mechanism was not to report or scream. I was paralyzed and cannot do anything about it. And I do think that if I do report, it will be more traumatizing for me. So, well, what do you think about that? How to prevent this from going on? Because I'm quite scared of encountering someone who look like or the same age, because it was a pedophile.
Yeah, it's totally true that sometimes the process of speaking up can be also traumatizing. But in my opinion, that's also because the victim is gonna feel judged by the society, by the judges, by their environment. So it is like sometimes victims prefer just to forget that it happened and don't think about it more than having to explain themselves, having to say what happened again and again. So maybe a way for victims to feel more comfortable would be to go to an organization with other victims, because maybe they will feel more understood. They will be talking to people that has gone from under the same circumstances. They have experienced the same. So maybe it is a little bit less traumatizing to talk to people that actually understand you and that you know that they understand you, they won't judge you. And sometimes it can be hard to remember something and thinking about it, but it also helps to speak about it out loud with someone you trust. And even if it can be hard at the beginning, it helps with the healing process to share and to hear from others that have suffered from the same, that they support you, that they understand you, and they can give you advice.
Thank you.
Okay, so that wraps our second session with Nuria tonight. Nuria, thank you. Muchas gracias so much for your presentation.
Gracias. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, glad to have you here. And for all participants, thank you all again for your attention. And don't go anywhere since the third and final session by Rahaf Al Saif will start sooner. Okay, so for time being, allow me to introduce my organization, which is Indonesia Youth Network. I am the president of this organization. It is actually a youth organization established to enhance the youth through diplomatic affairs such as MUN conferences for MUN enthusiasts and seminars to enhance your diplomacy and public speaking skills. So hope you check out Indonesia Youth Network's Instagram page, which is also the media partner of Imbang Diri's webinar tonight. And heads up, we will be hosting an MUN conference on 8th to 9th August. It will be held online in Zoom. So for those who are interested, feel free to check out Indonesia Youth Network's Instagram and register yourself. And we're also opening applications for ambassadors as well as chairs and delegates. So that is it for the commercial break. Okay, so I believe that our time is up, our second break is up. So next in line, we have Her Excellency Rahaf Al Saif. So Rahaf Al Saif here is a youth goodwill ambassador for the United Nations IGO, SAM, and a co-founder and steering committee member of Youth for Wildlife Conservation. Rahaf has always been a profound supporter of campaigns on humanitarian and environmental and wildlife issues. She has attended several model United Nations conferences all across the globe in order to explore more about diverse cultures and opinions. And she believes that youth is the only solution to the rising threats to world peace and prosperity. So without further ado, let us welcome Rahaf Al Saif. Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum salam. Hello, how are you? I hope you can hear me well. So I would like to first start. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rahaf Al Saif, and as you heard, I'm a Youth Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations. So I do hope, and it's my goal, that you take away some sort of message that impacts your life and contribute value to you. I am not here to share my thoughts as a UN ambassador about fighting sexual harassment, and I'm not here as a victim, but I'm here to share my story as a survivor. So to everyone who ever met me and knows me knows that I'm an activist with a loud voice. And when it comes to women's rights and youth empowerment, Yet I've always kept everything inside. No one ever knew about the conflict raging inside, where people often would describe me as lively and cheerful and very talkative. So to be sexually harassed and raped is one of the most horrifying experiences. And I'm not going to tell you what to do and how, like, I'm not going to give you a PowerPoint about it, but I'm going to share my story. So in my story, I was not only raped, but drugged in a foreign land. I know it might sound a bit too movie-like, which made it even harder for me to be believed. It was my first MUM ever, which was just a couple of years ago. And after the end of a successful conference on my last day, one of the guys that I met in the conference asked me if I'd have lunch with him. So instead of going with my friends shopping, lunch sounded like a better plan back then. So we all stayed at the same hotel, and so we met by the restaurant. And after I sat down, I asked, to go to the washroom. So, which was a naive thing to do. He took the liberty to order me a juice, which tasted odd, but yet again, everything in that country tasted odd for this Middle Eastern girl. A few minutes later, after I drank the juice, I was getting dizzy, and I asked him if he would take me to my room. But I haven't realized that I checked out right before I met him. So without even knowing, I ended up in his room, not my room. And things were very hazy, but I remember glimpses and realizing that he was on top of me, and that was the last thing I saw before completely passing out. Waking up, imagine just waking up naked in someone else's room. I was numb. I got out as fast as I could and went out for a walk to clear my mind. And, after the incident, my brain completely shut down. So, sorry. So all my feelings were, the hurt, the shame, the anger, the guilt, sadness, confusion, they were all locked in, and I couldn't breathe. I remember getting a call from my friend who was flying back to Dubai with me. And he was saying that, our taxi will be by the hotel in 10 minutes. So I looked up Google Maps, and I realized that I was walking aimlessly for over 45 minutes. And, I couldn't shed a tear, and I lost track of time completely. So on my 9 hours flight, I spent 7 crying nonstop. So when I realized that I felt like I had hit rock bottom, I wouldn't talk to anybody, not even my best friend, who is very judgmental by trade, which made me bottle things up. It was hard to deal with all the emotions that were overtaking me. I got very moody and spent a lot of time in bed. Everything was overwhelming. I had no motivation to do anything. I was just thinking about so many things, even suicide, thinking about all the fears ahead of me, made me panic, gave me that anxiousness, I had to kill myself. I didn't care. I didn't care if I went to hell, anything was better than the hell I was going through. So, and all these questions like, am I going to get pregnant? Did he use a condom? Did he take pictures of me? How am I going to get married? I'm a Middle Eastern girl. Can I fix this? And what made it worse was seeing his pictures all over social media since he was appointed as a chair. He was becoming so successful, and I was here crying myself to sleep almost every night, and I lost taste of life. So looking ahead still makes me scared sometimes, but I ended up lifting my head, and I had to become more successful than him. He was still taking this huge toll on my heart, still a huge part of my thought. So one day I woke up not wanting this evil to control what I've become. I saw on that day, saw this ad by Calm app. I don't know if you guys know it. It said, "Today I decide to forgive you because my soul deserves peace." And this quote really hit me and made me acknowledge that with every minute that I'm sitting here feeling bad about myself, feeling the shame and the embarrassment, he is somewhere out there living his life. So every day that I let him ruin my life, the more horribly significant it becomes. So this is why I'm telling you my story, to share my stories that other girls um, that other girls that are going through it know that they're not alone. I know reading and listening to other girls' stories gave me strength, and I hope this seminar does the same for some other girls out there. So if any of you were ever sexually harassed or raped and is listening to me right now, my message to you is don't let someone else control what you become. You can decide. Take every situation and make it best. If I can do it, you can do too. You know, it's not enough to just survive something. This is not just about sexual harassment or rape or anything. It's a general rule that should be there. So it's not just enough to survive something, but it's that's not the point of life. You have to live it. You have to thrive, and you got to feel happy. It's all very normal for any of us to feel anxious and sad and low, especially in these times. But it's not something you have to live with, but it's something you must fight for. You will have to fight for your mental health. You will have to fight for your peace of mind. You have to fight for your rights and beliefs. You have to fight for yourself. It is said that girls with dreams become women with vision. So here I am today as the United Nations Youth Goodwill Ambassador and an official United Nations delegate. And right now, I have the power to actually help other people. I was supposed to go to the UN as an official delegate this year in New York, but it didn't work since Corona, but hopefully next year. But just thinking about only have right now, I only have the freedom as a female in the Middle East to become and to be appointed as ambassador and go out and have access to education and travel on my own because of all these women who fought for me and other women to be given the opportunity that I have today and to be able to benefit from. So our life does not end here. So I'm thankful that I did not lose hope and people did not lose hope in me because I got better. So don't lose hope in yourself and in other people. And you know, if your family don't listen, so for example, I told only my sister, and when I told her, she was very dramatic and she did not believe me. And I knew if I told my mother that, you know, my freedom ends here, I know that with this incident that I had nothing to do with and I couldn't change anything about it, I would end my own life with my own hands, if you guys understand what I mean. So, and I didn't tell my best friend, but I had to tell other people. I found other communities out there. I found other people who would listen to me, and I was listening to other girls' story, not necessarily talking about it. And I think this is my first time that I ever talk about it in public. So this is a bit very emotional for me. And girls, remember that we have the power to raise a better future generations. And for all the guys who are watching me right now, your kids in the future will see how you treat their mother, and they will do the same. So if so, all the ladies, just make sure that raise these boys in a good manner, and for the fathers, future fathers, make sure that you treat their mother right. So please be nice to each other and aim higher for a better world and our children to come. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Rahaf, for your session. May you please give a big round of applause to Rahaf? It's so amazing, and it's just so inspiring to have you share your story with us. Like, I know it's emotional, but we're very, very proud to have you share with us. And also, we're really grateful for your advocacy in this issue. And to everyone, I hope that Rahav's speech have inspired you tonight for long term. Okay, so without further ado, we will be opening our question and answer for Rahav. And for those who are interested, please raise your hands. Okay, we have Rahila. Rahila Adin.
I'm sorry, I can't open my camera. Is
It's
it
fine.
okay?
It's fine. Absolutely fine.
Okay. So my name is Rahila. I'm a student and I'm from Bandung. And okay, first of all, wanted I really want to thank you because you're really inspiring me. You're a very inspired person. And the question that I want to ask is, what if the one who sexual harassed me is a woman and not man? What should I do about it? Because it's kind of confusing for me, and I don't know, it's so difficult for me to speak up about this problem because it's just weird. And what should I do about it?
Okay. Um, I would say that I totally understand because one of the people I told my situation to was a girl that I knew, and I didn't even know that she was gay. So what she tried to do is she basically sexually harassed me after I told her what happened, and because part of what I was saying is that I feel disgusted from men. I don't imagine that I would want someone to touch me because at that point I was hysterical, and she harassed me. But the thing is, if you see this person every day, if it's in school, just try to stay away from that person. But if it's not that, just cut them off. Because the moment I discovered, because there is a fine line between knowing that this person is really sexually harassing you or just being nice, and there is a really fine line. But if you can cut that person off completely, please do that, because these people are just like a parasite. They just want to
Yeah.
ruin other people. And just be clear that this is not who I am. This is not what I want, and no means no.
Okay. Thank you for answering.
You're welcome.
Right. Thank you, Rahila, for your question, and thank you, Rahaf, for your answers. We will be entertaining one more question, so I will just select. We have here Febi Puspita. Febi? Hello, Febi, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay. You may ask your question.
I just want to ask, what if the one who do sexual harassment to us is our closest family, like cousins? Because in some part we don't want our family get confused or fight each other, right? And yeah, what do you mean by that? What uh
I have a
how to say
question for
that?
you. Do you live in the same house?
We were live in the same area because
Okay.
my cousin was my neighbor. Our houses are faces each other.
Okay. So what I would suggest is that you, whenever you see him, just cross the other line, go somewhere else. Try to avoid that person, because of every time you're going to see him, he's going to do something bad to you, say something bad, or even, just can't call you in the street. Just stay away from that, because if you put yourself in harm's way, knowing, and if you put yourself in this place, knowing that he's gonna come out for you, and just avoid it. If I know, if I go to this place, I'm gonna see this person who always harasses me. Why am I going there? If there's any family union or whatever, just try to avoid it. Say you have school, say you have an exam, um, or stay with your friends. If you want to go out on the street, go with a sibling, or just try to avoid this person as much as you can. I know it's not easy, but also it's not hard. For your own sake, for your own mental health, just avoid that person as much as you can. Because if you avoid that person, he's not going to see you. And if he's not going to see you, at some point, he's going to find another thing to, get his mind off. I hope that helps. I'm not a psychiatrist in the end of the day, but from my perspective, from my point of view, from what I've seen in life, this is what I would suggest.
The thing is, this tragedy was happened when I was 5, and now I'm in my 20, and my parents still didn't know about these things.
Sometimes, see, I know everyone says, tell your parents, they're supportive, but, being Muslim and being Middle Eastern, I totally understand, because not telling your family and your parents is not always the best solution, but talk about it, because talking about it always heals, not necessarily with your family, as I said, but as I said, try to avoid that person. Try to avoid that person as much as you can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you for your question, and thank you, Raha, for your answer. I hope that inspires you all. And okay, so fortunately, we still have some time left for another question and answer session. So, and it's all directed to all three speakers. So, participants, if you have any question that you would like to address, please raise your hands. And now, don't forget to address who would you like to address the question to, and yeah, have fun with the Q&A session. So I'm going to just start selecting. Okay. We have here Shadavania. Shadavania, are you here with us?
Yeah.
Okay, who would you like to ask your question to among these three speakers?
Okay. Is it okay if I ask Maria?
Sure. You may. Shad, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, people keep on judging how we look, and I have a friend who she's really beautiful, and she dresses really good, but there's this one friend of mine who judged her for how she dressed, and I'm her friend, so how should what should we do to help a person who is judged by judged by another person by their clothing?
Okay, and who would you like to ask this question to?
Nuria, please.
Okay, Nuria.
Okay, so yeah, that happens a lot. People like women especially are very judged because of the way they dress. So my advice would be that if you're friends with the girl that is judged, uh, encourage them to keep dressing how she likes. Support her, don't judge her, and keep telling her that she shouldn't pay attention to whatever people say, that she should wear whatever she feels comfortable with, because we are not our clothes. We are free to dress however we want, And I have experienced that myself. I have been judged for the way I dress, even in Spain, that we can dress like really freely. And even though I have been judged, so just encourage her to be herself and to dress how she wants. And if you're also friends with the people that judge her, just remind those people that that's not okay, that they shouldn't be doing it, and that they can dress however they want, and they have to let other people dress however they want. So we're not like we're not looking for sex if we dress with a miniskirt, for example. We're not more open to do things if we're wearing a crop top. Like how we dress doesn't mean that we are anyone's property or anyone can do what they want with us. So just remind that to her and to the people that is constantly judging her. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah,
Was it
thank you
clear?
very much. Really
Thank you.
inspiring.
Okay, thank you for your question. Okay, so next up we have Kairunisa Putri. Kairunisa? Or should I call you Putri? Is that fine?
Yeah, you can call me Portrait. Thanks.
Alright, Putri, you may ask your question.
Okay, so I'm actually want to ask to Rahaf. I was ever like okay. It was actually my personal experience being harassed, and it was by a police officer. And it's kind of made me shocked because police officer tend to being a figure that protect us, and it was like I don't know. I was trying to do something honest, like making a driver license without paying things, right? And then I got harassed like 2 days in a row. And I can't really forget about it, even though I try to loud it off. It's still sad. I just want to know how can I speak up about this, and can I report this, like that kind of way. I'm not really sure what to do. I mean, it's police officer. What should I do?
Yeah. So the thing is, sometimes they tell you don't pick a fight with a bigger person because you're gonna lose anyways, but that's not true. If you really feel that that incident really hurt you so much, and you want to go ahead and file a report, go for it. But for me, if 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 it was not like, for example, here in United Arab Emirates, you know, a lot of police officers sometimes will be like, "Oh, give me your number, and I will not give you a ticket or something." It happened with me so many times. Or we would get stopped. Like, so many girls, if you ask a lot of Emirati girls or girls living in the United Arab Emirates, they would tell you that they've been stopped a lot by police officers, and take their numbers or whatever. These things, I think you have to let them go, because in the end of the day, even if you talk about it, nothing is going to happen. And maybe you're going to put yourself in a position with your family, with people around you, that's not going to make you feel comfortable. But if it's really a big incident and you feel like this is going to hurt you for the rest of your life, I think it's best if you just go ahead and file a report, if that's what you feel comfortable with. But if you want someone to talk to, I will share my Instagram account in the chat box, and you can just message me whenever you want, and I'll be happy to listen to you.
But what if they asking about, like, is there an evidence? I mean, like, how?
What do you mean? The chat box is disabled. What do you mean?
Well, yeah. So actually, I'm trying to talking it out, but when I like asking another police officer, they were actually like talking like, do you have an evidence? Like, how
I mean, it's sexual harassment. Like he almost kissed me,
Yeah.
he groped me and everything, right? But talking about it, they just like, do you have an evidence? Like, no, I don't. How? Like, I'm not like recording it. Like, how? It's by accident. It's not a trap, right? So I don't really know what
Definitely.
to do.
I feel I feel like if I don't know exactly in your country, in your city, how things are, but if you feel like the best situation for you is to report that person, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. Maybe if he does this to you, he does this to so many other girls. But be careful because some men with such powerful positions tend to hurt people who come forward even more. So think about it twice, and if it's the best thing that you can do in your own situation to report it, go ahead and do that. But make
Okay.
sure you don't report it to his friend and go to his superior.
Okay. Thanks.
Right. Thank you for your question. Now we'll proceed to Muhammad Gifari. You may ask your question.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I don't know who I'm gonna addressing this question, but what I want to ask is that I have one best friend. She is a girl. I always go with her outside, whether we want to eat some food or we want to go to shopping. The thing is, every time I go with her, she always being catcalled when we walk on the street or even when we ride on motorcycles. Like she always been catcalled by some guy, like yeah, some catcalling thing. And as a boy, I feel so guilty that I cannot protect her. Is there anything that I want to know your from girls from girls' perspective? How should I act as her friend to protect her when she being catcalled?
Okay. Interesting question. Maybe we can call Kak Adita to answer this question. Kak Adita? Or we can pass this question to either Rahaf or Nuria. Either one of you would like to answer, or maybe this. So yeah, maybe Nuria, would you help us in answering the question?
Okay, so the most important thing is always to empower your friend and encourage her to speak up and to tell what the situation. And also like don't stay don't stay there and do nothing. I mean, if you see that she's being harassed, act and go to that guy and tell him to stop and face him. Like I obviously don't face him, like don't fight him, like beating him or anything, but like politely, or just go and tell him to stop and to stop telling her those things, but also encourage her to speak up for herself and empower her. I think that both things combined are the best option. Like allow her to defend herself, but also defend her as a friend, and don't just stay there and look. Like take action and do something. And talk to that person that is harassing her and tell him to stop. Because if all of us, if we see a friend who is being harassed and we say nothing, like it's gonna keep happening. So she needs to know that she's safe and that she has people that cares about her.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Okay, thank you for your question. The next we're gonna call Siska Deborah Stefani. Siska? Hello, Siska, are you with us? Okay, hello, Siska? Okay, unfortunately, Siska isn't here with us, so we're just gonna proceed to the next question, which is Rihanna Arianti. Rihanna Arianti, are you with us?
Okay, I'm here.
Yes, you may ask your question.
Okay, I want to ask how to not always be reminded of sexual harassment that has been experienced.
Okay, and who would you like to address your question to?
Kadita.
Okay, okay. So Kadita. Okay, unfortunately, Kadita isn't with us at the moment, so you can ask either Nuria or Rahaf.
Okay, Nuria.
Okay, Nuria.
Can you please repeat the question? I didn't hear like the last part.
Okay. I want to ask how to not always be reminded of sexual harassment that has been experienced.
Oh, I sorry, I can hear I can hear clearly. Like, can you maybe write it because I hear it like distorted and I can't understand.
May I help you in asking your question if I may? Okay, so what she's asking is how to not be reminded of the sexual harassment incident that she experienced. Is that what you asked? Hello? Nuria, perhaps you could you could answer that question.
Okay, so I understand that the question is like how to try to move on with your life and don't keep thinking about the incidents.
Yes.
Okay, so I think the best way to like move on is to seek for help and share it with people that have maybe experienced something similar. At the beginning, it may not seem as useful, and it may hurt a little bit to keep reminding the experience, but it really helps. In Spain, we have a lot of associations of victims, and all of them agree that it is really helpful to talk to people who has experienced the same, and it somehow helps to heal, and eventually they can move on with their lives, like when they share it with someone that understands what they have been through. So maybe if there's in your country or in your city like those kind of associations of victims or people who have experienced the same, it can be useful to go and share with them, and eventually that helps to heal.
Okay. Thank you for
Can I
answering.
add to that? Can I add to that?
Okay, sure. You may. You may, Rahaf.
I think to add to what she said is that I would suggest also to keep yourself busy all the time. This is one of the main things that helped me in my journey, is that after I seeked help and I talked about it, and I kept myself busy. I had some hobby. I was going out with friends. Just make sure that your life does not end there, and just keep yourself busy with work, with study. Find a new hobby, find an online job. There's a lot of things just to keep yourself busy.
Okay, thank you. Right. Thank you for your answers, Rahaf and Nuria. I hope that is useful for you. Right. So we will be entertaining two more, which is from Rahana Hediant. Rahana, are you with us?
Yes. Can you hear
Okay, you may
me?
ask your question. Yes.
Okay. Actually, this question is for Kak Dita because she touched my question topic little.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry for not opening my camera.
It's okay. It's fine.
Okay, my question is, how if the person I love so much, he asks me to give a picture of my preferred body part? It's like I don't want to do that, but there's come a feeling like I want to make him happy. I love him so much, and I don't know how to deal with it. Okay.
Okay, thank you for your question, Raihana. Okay, so unfortunately, Kadita isn't here with us, so you can maybe transfer that question to either Nuria or Rahaf.
Maybe.
Maybe the both of the
Yes.
speakers. Okay, so we would like to start with Rahaf.
Okay.
Okay.
To be honest, I haven't been through a similar situation. So what I would just tell you is that if the person loves you, he would love you with, you know, even without that sexual need. So I don't think, to be honest, just to be brutally honest, I don't think he's the right guy for you, because if he asks these things that basically takes away from your dignity and chips off from your confidence, I don't think he's the right one for you. And what you can do now, if he ever uses these pictures against you, you must file a police report. You must file a police report. Do not let him blackmail you with any of these pictures. And yeah, I don't think it's a healthy relationship at all, even if you love him.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you for your question. Maybe you would like to add something to it, Nuria?
I totally agree with Rahaf. When someone loves you, it's not good. He's not gonna force you do anything that you don't want. He's not gonna use anything against you. And even if you love him, the best thing is like let him go and look for someone that respects you and doesn't force you to do so. And I really, really understand you, because I was in a relationship like that for a couple of years. And after ending it, I realized that I loved him so much, but a person that does that does those things is not good for you.
I get it. Thank you.
Okay, and don't forget what Kadita said. If our partners love us, they shouldn't want to demand anything sexual from you. I hope that's useful. And yeah, okay, so we're down to the last question. We are going to call Florencia Yumiko.
Okay, hi. Can you hear me?
Hi, yes, we can hear you. You may ask your question.
So actually I want to ask Rahaf. Yeah, so my question is like a few days ago I got sexual harassed by a stranger through the chat, and yeah, I just blocked him, but I still feel like not comfortable and I still think about it until now. Uh, so what should I do about it? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I think I can totally relate with you, because my Instagram account is public and I always get these unwanted messages, unwanted pictures. And I think what you can do is block that person and try to stay away from your direct message. Try to, block strangers from your page, even if you are public. If you are public on a public page, there is the direct message, the DM. try not to go there, because I know for me personally, whenever I go there, I know for sure that I'm going to find something that I'm not going to like. So I try my best to just ignore it, stay away from it, and just, I need you to realize that, people would do these things because you're either beautiful and you should be very proud and confident that you are, or that they're very jealous of your accomplishments, or that they're sick. And you cannot even you cannot deal with sick people. You cannot teach them. We cannot argue with them. So all you can do, even with similar situations, if you see this person, if you even receive a message from this person, try to stay away from it, even a message or even in real life. Stay away from it. And we have a saying in Arabic that says, I'll try to translate it as much as I can. It says, if there is a wind coming from this door, just shut it closed, and um, and relax your mind. So that's all you can do.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you for your question, and Rahaf, thank you for your answer. So this wraps us for our third and final session for this webinar. And to all participants, thank you all for your full participation and for your questions. And if you have any more questions, you can directly DM the speaker's Instagram. They will be happy to entertain your questions. And also, don't forget to contact Imbang Diri's comedy for any inquiries. And oh yeah, Kayuveta, are you here with us? Would you please do the honor of re-explaining the certificate mechanisms?
Yes, hello.
Hello, Kayuveta. Would you do the honor of re-explaining the certificate mechanisms?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So I will explain about the certificate. So as you can see on your screen, this is the example of the certificate that you'll get. Certificate is equipped with the QR code, which is the purpose of the QR code is to check the authenticity of the certificate. So whenever you scan the QR code, you'll be directed to the certificate authenticity checking page like you see on your screen. And it was really simple. You just need to input your full name, then submit to check your certificate validation. So the certificate cannot be fake and registered on Imangdiri database. So if you guys want to get the certificate, you just need to pay 10,000 rupiahs plus a unique code. And this unique code can only be obtained by chatting admin. For the example, after you chat the admin to asking for unique code, let's say you get a code 300, so the nominal that you have to pay is 10,300 rupiahs. And this is the procedure for you guys who want to pay the certificate. First, you chat the admin via Telegram. There are 3 admin, me as Yuveta, Chacha, and Bugis. And you don't need to chat to all of them. After that, you will get the unique code, total payment, and the kind of payment methods. Then after you transfer or complete the payment, don't forget to get a screenshot as a proof of payment, and you can upload it to the link bit.ly/sertifTW6. And this payment limit and closing certificate registration are on Sunday at 3 p.m. So don't be late. And the certificate will be given maximum in 2 days after closing the certificate registration, and it will be sent via Telegram group. And the next announcement is about the Best Participant Award. So to get the Best Participant Award, there are several conditions. First, the participants should follow Instagram at Imangdiri. The participants should follow the event until it finishes. The participant should upload in timeline or Insta story on personal Instagram, then tag to Imangdiri Instagram about the seminar that just took place with the aim to educate and being a mental health influencer. And awards will be given to the participant with the most creative and interesting content. And the last award winners will be given a certificate of achievement from Imangdiri. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Kayuveta, for the explanation on the certificates. So all participants, I hope you take that note I hope you note that down. And don't forget your e-certificates. Don't forget to contact Imbang Diri's committee to make your payments for e-certificates. Now, wrapping up, I hope all of you participants enjoyed the seminar and that you have an insightful night. And thank you all speakers for your inspiring stories, for your inspiring speeches, and just for your insight. It's very inspiring. And much apologies for any technical issues and shortcomings. I am Andrea Renina, President of Indonesia Youth Network, and your moderator for tonight. You can follow Indonesia Youth Network or my Instagram, Andrea Renina, for any inquiries. And on behalf of Imbang Diri, we wish you all to stay healthy, stay safe, and have a good night. Assalamualaikum. Thank you so much. Good night.
Waalaikumsalam. Good night.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you
So
so
much.
much, you guys.
Good night.
You
Thank you so
too.
much.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
สวัสดี
Thank
ค
you
รั
all for
บ
coming.
Nice
Sawadee
dream.
Thank you so much.
Good night. Thank you.
สวัสดีครับ
Nice dream. Nice dream.
you. Thank you, Nuria. Thank you, Rahaf.
ありがとうございます
Thank you all. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Sweet dream.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
고맙습니다
Bye all.
감사합니다.